Greetings, friends, and welcome to Enigma Night Gaming. My name is Liara, and I will be your guide in today's adventure. Today, we're playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and in today's episode, we might actually get to see court today and defend Gina. She finally gave us permission to defend her, and the court is supposed to convene today. So, let's go ahead and hop in and see if we actually get to see the inside of a courtroom. Yes, I quite understand. Who is speaking? That is a great weight off my mind. I don't know who's talking. Is it Herlock? Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. Who is he talking to, I wonder? I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. Oh, it's to her. My dear madam. All right. Well. When I awoke the following morning, Susy-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last. One that I would remember for the rest of my days. Oh. What's going to happen? Look, it's the court, guys. 17th of April, 9:32 a.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. All right. And here's Gina. Good morning, Gina. Back to the attitude. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So, where's your friend, then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. Cesardo, or however you say it. I don't know. Ah, Miss Cesardo had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are ya? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Cesardo and I won't meet again one day. Even so. But you, Gina. You only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Who is this? Oh, okay. It's Iris. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Meow. Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? He's like, put me down. Waggy! Great way to show your support, Giddy. Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Well, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. What does it say? Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Bruno, Jenny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. I like your way of thinking. Nah, I always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Well, let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susy made her train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. That's true. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I guess so. I couldn't get a monkeys, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad. And look, the trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. See? Tisk, how do you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Bruno will show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will. And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged Divers, Dauntless Do-Gooder. Isn't that right, Bruno? Oh, yes. Let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susy. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Alright, so we got today's paper in the court record. Oh, maybe that's going to have some important information we should check out. Let's go ahead and check it out as soon as we're able to. Good luck then, Bruno. I'll do what I can. Alright, I want to check that paper out real fast. What do we got? Let's see. Read what the article says, maybe? Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. How awful. For Ginny, I mean. But tomorrow's headline will be Discharged Divers, Dauntless Do-Gooder, right? Yes, something like that. If possible, I'd like to go even bigger. Bigger? How? Proud pickpocket protects planet post-trial, perhaps. Protects planet? Ooh, I can't wait for tomorrow now. It's going to be so great. Alright. Is there anything about him, or is this going to be the same thing? Okay, so this is the same thing, right? We'll have to check maybe the back side of the paper, see if there's anything else. What is this? There's a sensational story lower down the front page as well. Look. Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked from overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of the world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently, they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted? But how would somebody be doing that? And that's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Bruno? No, of course not. I wonder, perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be, and it could explain why he has Grexy running from pillar to post at the moment. Alright, the details of today's paper have been updated. Alright, so, that might come in useful in the trial, so we'll see. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susy does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement, while looking down at us from the barrel of your gun. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris? Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering, is all, about Sholmes. Did they fix him up alright? Yes, the operation was a great success. But Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Sasada-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. We can do it. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom. It's time then. Yes, let's go, Gina. Iris? Lead the way, Bruno. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. Yep, we gotta remember... Yep. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Always believe in your client, right? Alright, what do we got? 17th of April, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Time to face Dracula again. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. The trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zeeks? My lord. Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today, you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. He knows something we don't. There are 2 types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out, thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies, only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. Whoa, what? Did he really just say that? He means you now, Runo. Thanks, Iris. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zeek's eyes? Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zeeks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. What do we got today? Some of these people look familiar. Like him, her, him, and her. These 2 look new, though. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know, chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything, and I'm ready for it. I don't understand it. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible. But could I have? I don't think you should be a doctor, sir. Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future. Oh, wait. Stop. Oh, boy. You gotta consult your translator. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. What an odd crew. Is something wrong, Runo? Oh, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know. So I've been led to believe, but something tells me I'm being duped. That's what I'm thinking too. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zieks, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. They're just surprised. The victim, Mr. Pop Winterbank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? I assume it means the shooter was below, right? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Or somebody squatting, don't forget that. Someone like the accused, you might say. Oh. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. Alright, we got the autopsy report. A report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner that confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. There are no other signs of trauma. Alright. We got the crime scene photograph. A photograph of the victim found murdered in the storeroom. It shows a single bullet wound in the man's back. Alright. Now my question would be, why is the bullet wound in his back if they think Gina shot him? Because if she was in there, you know, sneaking around and he stumbled across her, it would have been a shot through the front, not through the back. So, I don't know. And if she had stumbled upon him and seen him, she would have just run away. She wouldn't have gone in there. So, I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. Alright. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Winterbank, and the accused. Now, why was she passed out? That's what I'd like to know. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. That doesn't mean anything. Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that lives in the slums in the East End. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. Whatever were the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. Time for you to sling your blood into the lamp now, huh? My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pickpurse or a cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. Indeed. The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zieks. Alright, we got a lot of evidence to look at. At once, my lord. Alright, so the crime scene floor plan's been entered. It's a plan of Windibank's pawnbroker, the scene of the crime. It shows the relative positions of the main shop and the rear storeroom. Alright, and then the revolver has been entered into the court record. Gun belonging to Mr. Windibank that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. There are signs of a single discharge. Alright. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Bruno. I think that's because it has. Throw off the cloak, oh boy. Let us begin. Indeed. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windibank on 16th April of this year. Oh boy. What in the actual world am I even looking at? Witnesses, state your name and occupations for the court. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right, we're what they call the three Skulkin brothers. There's only two of you. Is he just not going to be involved with it at all? What are you looking at me like that for? Don't let me in with you lot. Lord blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our older bruv. Lost contact with him we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And then last night we come across you. The very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash. He is. The very spit of him. So we decided that. And then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Skulky. Or Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two. Sulky Skulkin. And that's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you're doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Humph. Thieves, are they, these three? No, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't let me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say? What an extraordinary coincidence! Indeed! Coincidence! Right! Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Right, it definitely wasn't you two that did the murder. Order! Order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, although they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw. Happy to! Happy to, cause a skulkin's never skulkin'. Oh boy. Just like I'm just gonna eat my chips. Get out of it. Alright. The illegal entry. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours and the gaff door was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, core blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet. Then why are you under arrest, I wonder? A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene, in every detail. Oh, but is it now? The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within only the victim and the accused were found. I must say it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now. Of course, counsel, if you please. That look. Counsel? Yes. What's the matter, Runo? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimonies for the pack of lies it is. Alright. There we go. Alright. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours and the gas door was ajar, see? We're gonna press everything. Hold it! The front door of Windybanks was ajar, you say? What time of night was this? Must have been about 1, right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky? How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky, me old mucker? He's like, leave me alone. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim. Objection! That is pure conjecture. Perhaps, but it changes nothing. It changes everything if it's not true, dude. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside. Right? That's what happened? It was like some kind of sign begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, Corb, we heard a gunshot from the back room. I forgot to press the second guy. A gunshot, you say? Just the one? Are you sure about that? Yup, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? The firearm used belonged to the victim himself. Yes, Mr. Windybank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds. That makes sense. Mr. Windybank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well. So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. Wonderful. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. Hold it! You look mighty suspicious there, sir. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there was only a little old oil lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden by the curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think. Oh, well, your turn, Rabbit Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. Did you seriously just call criminals courageous? These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former. Alright, somehow I just proved I was a coward that night. Thank you, counsels. So I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet.
Hold it!
Alright, let's see. You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam soon, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quietly, you say? That's right, Governor. Nothing we ate more than violets. Peace-loving nibblers. We are not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out me Lucy lockets. So you clearly like us to believe. Come again? As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive, they fired a gun, you say? Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway? It was. Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Sherlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd be rushed to the hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. They're all surprised. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. Alright. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. The Skulkin brothers' gun has been entered into the court record. Okay, so a firearm found in the possession of the Skulkin brothers upon their arrest. There are signs that a single round was fired. Oh boy. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are telltale signs of spent powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection!
Well, I don't need evidence because I was there.
Objection!
However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired the gun before they left Windibanks that night. I mean, we do have the bullet in the calendar, right? The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night? Let's see, where is it? Don't we have... we had something. Well, let's look at all the new evidence, right? So let's examine this. Anything we can see? Let's look at this. This is Mr. Windibank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. Mr. Windibank always kept this gun on hand at on his shop counter. Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded, I understand. That's right, to keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe. But his one bullet was fired that night and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop, I wonder? Trying to keep the articles safe? Alright, what about... Is there any evidence down the barrel? Can we look down there? Is that going to say the same thing? Okay, that's just going to say the same thing. Alright, is there anything else that we can look at on here? I guess not. Alright, let's go back. Let's look at the other one. Alright, so this one... So, there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders. Yes, which tells us that only a single shot has been fired from it. Exactly. The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it? Yes, it happened almost as soon as we'd walked through Windibank's door. I'll make those brothers pay. Is it going to be like in the hospital records? Let's look and see. What do we have? Pawnbroker's ticket, Gina's representation, blood samples. It might be in there. Gilded case notes. Okay. I think, let's look in here. So, it's this, right? I mean, because it's clearly there. Let's present this.
Take that!
And see what he says. The evidence is in this portfolio. What? What on earth have you there, counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains. And not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Well, anyway. We analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein? Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? Alright, which sample show? It's this one.
Take that!
Very clearly. What is that? Explain! It's a photographic print taken at Windibank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there. Indeed. Yes, as your lordship noticed. The bullet pierced Mr. Windibank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been sent to the 16th. That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes that this is credible evidence that the witness did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Yeah! The crazy brothers. Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zeeks? Is he gonna throw his wine? He is. If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? I knew it! But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbroker illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Eh? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna lead us in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Get him, Silky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zeeks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zeeks? As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. Ugh! In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all. So that's it. Alright. They're like sitting here like fist pumping each other. That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? We're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where is he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh, that's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's any photographs. Every half hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. What do we got? Nine. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite a desultory fashion. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are two such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer to the court to the plan of the premise, and their relative positions are here and here. Alright. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witness currently in the stand was not caught on camera. Or the witnesses. That's a bit of fire tuck, eh, bruv? Lady Lux loves a skulkin'. Witnesses. What time did your trespassing begin? It must have been just after 1, right, bruv? Must have been, Nash. Must have been. Yeah, just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good Lord! It's the defendant. Oh man, that is pretty suspicious. Miss Gina Lestrade. Mighty suspicious there. That's going to be a hard one to argue. As the court can clearly see. Although that would have her shooting him in the front though. The accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to a storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel. Alright, so we got the photograph of Gina. It's a photograph taken automatically by the red-handed recorder, showing the scene a short time before the murder took place. Ugh. I don't believe it, Jenny. In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly killed Mr. Windibank. Ugh. Oh man. Now what do we do? I say, my lord. Who's this? Wonder if I might put in a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of My Wind in 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but it forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, the medal never can outshine the exploit of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. The daily battle of life, if you like. And here I am now leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all and all for one. Got another holy chalice there, do you? The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached an agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garrett Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report for the court, men on the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry, brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. You knew it was coming, didn't you, Santa? Very well. The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Oh boy. Judicial findings. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketine. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at the photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now. Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop. In Motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. Okay, that was super not helpful. The circumstances of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone, and in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print, taken from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the body trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Oh boy. Alright, so it's time for our rebuttal. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt to this young pickpocketine. Alright, let's press you.
Hold it!
You're Mr. Natsumi's landlord, Mr. Garadab, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this. Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. Indeed. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garadab's house was the talk of the town after that business. The lodgers moved out and I couldn't get a body soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. Haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did do rather a lot, but not for us, that's for dash certain. I suppose not. Of course. There can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. Obviously, but honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pick-pursers, and crossmen, the scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps. Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Sherlock Holmes? That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rance magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Sholmes, a maid. It's really quite unforgivable. Getter scum having the audacity to shoot our very great detective. Minor detail. It was the two brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective. Alright, should we press her again? I don't know if pressing... Let's see what happens. I'm curious. I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Sholmes was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank. I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir. Sorry? Whether it was the thieves or the pick-purse, it was still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion. Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't going to be easy. Bruno, it was one of those two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it? Yes, without question. Well then, I'll never forgive them. Oh, Iris. Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think? Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. Alright. All I think you'll find, if you look at the photograph in the stereo, the truth will just pop out.
Hold it!
What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection!
But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Ooh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old, seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary. It's captivating. It's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only you could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. If I left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now.
Hold it!
What are you even talking about? What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that. So sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field. So what is it you think you've left behind? Well, that's a little embarrassing, to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday, standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? Did he? Surely not. Exactly, surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern, and seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure. Oh boy. Mind made up! Stop! Global radio transmission of the verdict to follow. Stop!
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop! Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. But now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electric signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed? Makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop! And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop! Messages carried on airwaves to four corners of the globe. Stop! Excitement growing. Stop! Atmosphere electric. Stop! Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop! Driving technological revolution. Stop! And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle! Oh, I know who we're pitting together. Oh, I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Alright, can we look around? Let's see. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Indeed. Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do! Say that again! Go on, I dare you! Goodness, are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yes. You think the stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely! I mean, really, a machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are no practical use at all. You just don't know. Pardon? I think you'll find viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Can you demonstrate with the crime scene photograph, maybe? Good! Okay, good. Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from the crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Bruno? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope? Yeah, sure. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. Alright. This one, right? Yeah, let's do this one.
Take that!
The one of her holding the gun on the pawnbroker. Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can! Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Do we have another print? I don't know. One more print. Do we do this one? I mean, that's not the same print, right? What do we have? Let's look in here. I don't think there's anything useful in here, right? Okay. Do we I mean, the only other print we have is this one, right? I don't know how that's gonna help, but I mean, we can try it. I don't think this is gonna help.
Take that!
This isn't gonna help. Yeah, wait, sorry. What do you mean one more print? Oh dear, oh dear. Don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how stereoscope works? Bruno? What? We need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember? Yeah, we do. But there was 2 cameras. Can we get the cameras? You know, one for the left eye and one for the right. Oh yes, I remember now. But the print we have from the pawnbroker is just a normal photograph. No. I think you'll find that the clue is in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints. Thanks for the friendly explanation. Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, we can always show it to this young man then. Ha ha ha! I think you'll find that know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me. Alright. Let's get things back on track, shall we, Council? All we need is another shot from a slightly different location, and we can see the scene in 3 dimensions. Alright, now we keep going. Don't spare any feelings, will you? It's not like there's anyone here who likes stereoscopes. So, why exactly do you think the defendant is guilty? It's quite simple. We haven't been shown a scrap of evidence to suggest that she is the culprit. And just as radio waves dash through the skies faster than the eye can see, so we should dash to the conclusion of this trial and stop pandering to indecision. Okay. In Motherland, we never say judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent.
Hold it!
Why is that? Please tell me you're not villain Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary. Oh, revolutionary? I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor. As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. I just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Maybe they went inside pawnbroker shop. But they have done nothing wrong. That is all I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Bruno? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. I must be ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Let's keep going. The brothers are the scum. Okay, so we'll pit her against the other guy, the Russian, right? Alright, so in Motherland we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. Alright, so there we go. We'll pit them.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good Lord, counsel, explain yourself. Oh my statement contradictory? Contradict. C-O-N. Juror number 6, you got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick, I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear? Abdomen, A-B-D. Sir? Sorry, my English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear? What's he gonna say? Forgive me, I did not hear. What? Ugh. Ah, here is word. Abdomen, part of person's body, containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English, I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers, who look like criminals, were lying. Imagine that! They said before, we never done nothing, but truth is, they shot detective. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said, we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now! It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be Yes, it is, Runo. Easily. Sorry? With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Hooey, Mr. Prosecutor! Tut-tut, calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Okay, let's see. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later after the brothers' flight. Okay. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then? As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken. But something moved, right? That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. We'll have to see. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot men, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You are right. I did not understand situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Oh, so now he's going to vote innocent. Well, we convinced one. The tide is turning. Yay! Well done, Bruno. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we might just turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Alright, the post-shooting photograph has been entered into the court record. Alright, I want to look at those. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Can we use that? Alright, let's in Lake of Lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore, I say not guilty verdict. Alright, let's see. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. So we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. I must be ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, let's see if the 2 photographic prints will work for the other guy now, right? This guy. Alright, so let's present, right? Can we present something? I don't know if we can give him another one. Post-shooting photograph. Can we? I'm not sure if we can. Maybe we have to press him.
Hold it!
Can it really show up new clues though? Don't know unless you try. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. So we've got this one.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. That's one print. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all. Let's try this one.
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windibanks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? We do remember. Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. They're going to become... The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with slight shift in positions of some objects. And then they become... that's when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, and it notices the shift as if it were depth. Alright. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important. So, what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyway. Oh. Of course, now I see. Ah, I think the young girl's discovered the secret. I have. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Bruno. Go on. Alright, so what are we going to see? Alright. Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them? I mean, stuff had gotten moved back here, right? It was like slightly shifted back a little, I think. I'm not sure what exactly, but I do know something shifted when it showed them. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now try looking at the picture in 3 dimensions. Alright, I'll give it a go. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Bruno? I saw some stuff. What's going on with these two pictures? Yeah, those were moved. Some of the images in the counter sort of jump out at you. Yeah, because that's exactly what I saw. Those were in 3D, and then you also saw that was broken, and it looked weird. I love how Lord Van Zeeks is just like, I am too dignified to cross my eyes. I will use the machine. Yes, 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 that's it, you see. That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why, the deuce or some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, hmm? I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question, because they got moved. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see the pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures, they have been shifted slightly. It shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. Alright, so now what? Now hold fire there, sir! Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I say. Well, why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What? Me? I'm in the first idea. You know, Bruno, it's quite simple. It is? Just think it through, step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some of the items on the counter appeared to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers! Someone tampered? No information! Stop! Not to mention a testimony so far! Stop! Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. So who is responsible? I don't know.
Take that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Okay. Wait. This does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning heads, and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. But this is another lie? Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now, hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse, after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? I mean, she was talking to... Yeah, as you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. Indeed. But the accused is a pig purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse than a pig purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. I love how he banks it with his head. Can you all see it now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. Alright. One more. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Or return home via Regent Street. Stop. Oh boy. We've done it. Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. To lean guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue. Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way... What? You should hold on to this, Bruno. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. Alright, so we got the stereoscope. Lord Van Zeeks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. He's gonna get mad again. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Alright. We're gonna have to revisit the testimony. I won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Nice. To be continued. Alright. Well, there you have it. So that was quite a interesting little trial there. I wonder what kind of new details they're going to release. Who do we think did it right now? Obviously, they shot into the calendar. And we know Gina didn't shoot the pawnbroker. So maybe they knocked her out, it took the gun, shot him. I don't know. I feel like maybe they were looking for the information we already had about the disc from McGilded. But we'll have to find out as this case unfolds. So if you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. If you want to watch live, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/LeR27. I have my schedule posted in the about and in the description. And if you want to see which games I'm playing each day, I post them on twitter.com/LeR27. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Until then, guys, bye.